Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So today we have a tarot / astrology reading. We are going to be focusing on the transit of the North Node into Aquarius and the South Node into Leo. This is a transit that is going to affect all of us. The nodes are going to change signs on July 26, 2026, and they will stay in Aquarius and Leo until March 26, 2028. So we are going to do our usual pick a card reading where we're going to be finding out how this transit will affect you personally and get some advice for you. We are also going to do an astrology section where we talk about how this transit will affect all of us as a collective. And there's also going to be messages for all 12 signs. So I definitely recommend listening to the message for your rising sign. I also recommend listening to your sun sign. And if you don't know your rising sign, then you can just go ahead and listen to your sun sign message. That is going to apply to you as well. You could listen to your moon if you feel called to it. I'm going to have the timestamps listed down below by sign and by house, so it will be easy to find the messages that you want to listen to. For those of you who have a bit more knowledge in astrology, if you use the Placidus house system rather than whole sign, you may want to listen to the messages for any houses that have some degrees of Aquarius or Leo in them. So for example, I use Placidus, and so the sign of Aquarius falls into both my 10th house and my 11th house. The sign of Leo falls into both my 4th house and 5th house. So you could listen to like both houses that have degrees of Aquarius and Leo in them. So we are going to start with the collective messages of this transit. If you want to skip ahead to a different section, you can find the timestamps down below in the description and in the pinned comment. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the North Node and the South Node are points in the sky. I'm probably not going to do a great job at explaining this, but basically there's the ecliptic, which is the belt of sky that we see from Earth, and there's the 12 zodiac signs going around that belt, like the zodiac wheel. And as we observe from Earth, the sun moves through this ecliptic and the moon moves around us. And the nodes are those 2 points in the sky where the sun's trajectory and the moon's trajectory meet. And so whenever there is an eclipse, it's happening around these nodes because that's where the sun and moon meet. And the North and South nodes are placements in our birth chart. So if you look at your birth chart, you will see the sign and house that your nodes are in. The North Node is explained a little bit differently depending on the astrological tradition. It can be seen as a positive placement, it can be seen as a negative placement, but basically the North Node represents a direction that we're being pulled in or an energy that is increasing. And the South Node represents a direction where we're coming from or an energy that is decreasing. Some people will describe the North Node as like your destiny, an area of life that you haven't mastered yet and that your soul is longing to move towards for expansion, where the South Node represents lessons that you've already learned, things that you've already mastered. It's your comfort zone, and so your soul wants to move away from that. But balance is definitely important between the two nodes. Like, it's not necessarily like we have to go full speed ahead in the direction of the North Node. It just means like we feel like life is pulling us in that direction more and more. And so with the nodes now transiting in the signs of Aquarius and Leo, I'm going to put up some keywords for each of those signs. But basically Aquarius energy, it's futuristic, it's innovative, it's eccentric, it's scientific, it's detached. It represents the whole collective, the whole of humanity. It can represent archetypes of like the black sheep, the rebel, the loner. It's kind of like a distant, detached, cerebral kind of energy. Whereas Leo is very heart-centered and warm and creative and passionate and is bold and brave. It represents more the individual, the ego. It can represent things like royalty, celebrities, leaders, things like that. Also, a couple of things worth mentioning. For the whole time that the North Node is transiting through the sign of Aquarius, Pluto is also going to be in the sign of Aquarius. Pluto's transit, of course, is very long. It's going to be in Aquarius for many, many years, but I feel like having both the North Node and Pluto in Aquarius together is emphasizing our power, like as humanity, our power to make huge shifts and change the power structures in this world and change our future when we work together and when we remember our power as a collective. So I feel like that's the element of Aquarius that we will benefit from focusing on during this transit. I want to mention as well that in mid-November 2027, the North Node and Pluto will be conjunct in the sign of Aquarius. I don't know what the heck is gonna happen, but this feels very intense and groundbreaking. Like we could literally be going through some huge collective timeline shift at this time, or like altering our destiny as humankind or something like that. You know what I'm actually thinking? So every decan, like every section of 10 degrees in the zodiac wheel is associated with a different tarot card, minor arcana. And this Pluto and North Node conjunction in Aquarius is happening in 4 degrees Aquarius. It's happening in the first decan, which corresponds to the 5 of Swords. And so if you think about the possibility of us collectively shifting the timeline that humanity is on, I feel like the 5 of Swords could represent this rejection. Like, we see the timeline that we're heading down, and a bunch of us in the collective are like, fuck this. And our rejection of it shifts Earth's timeline into something else. I don't know. I can't explain it, but maybe some higher powers are going to be like, maybe they're going to accept our feedback that we're not fucking with the current timeline, and they're gonna allow us to change it. And also, we must note that for most of this transit, while we have the South Node in Leo, Jupiter is also going to be in Leo. So, you know, we were talking about before, the South Node often talks about like something we're letting go of or an energy that is decreasing. I don't really think that's going to be the case with this particular transit, just because we do have Jupiter in Leo as well, and Jupiter magnifies the energy of whatever sign it's in. So I'm sort of interpreting it like the South Node is draining out what we don't need, and Jupiter is adding more of what we do need when it comes to Leo energy. I thought of a music analogy for my musicians. South Node is like the subtractive EQ, okay? We're removing the offensive frequencies. We're removing the frequencies we don't want from a sound. And then Leo is increasing the gain after that, turning up the volume, essentially. So like we talked about before, one of the things Leo represents is ego. And so when we think of the undesirable aspects of ego draining out, I think we're going to see that having the South Node here is helping us to be less self-conscious and not take things as personally. But what is going to be magnified is our individuality, our creative urges, our boldness. We need that. I actually put that in my notes. We need your creativity. We need your boldness. And this is going to be a huge theme while Jupiter is in Leo from the end of July 2026 until the end of July 2027. I feel like a lot of us are going to feel like our creativity boosted and our desire to express ourselves is boosted, and our confidence in what our natural strengths are and our confidence in what makes us so amazing is going to be boosted. And then that self-consciousness of like, oh, but maybe I should hide away, but what will people think? That kind of self-consciousness is going to be draining out. And that, like, taking things personally, if someone doesn't vibe with our energy, that's also going to be draining out. Like, we don't care. We're going to express ourselves regardless. So I maybe I'm interpreting this in a kind of optimistic way, but I don't know, I like it. So on that note, I want to talk about some good things and some maybe not so good things that could be happening when the North Node is in Aquarius and the South Node is in Leo. The first note that I made is that I think we're going to see a lot more people focused on community and helping the collective rather than just focusing on our own individual comforts and sort of being selfish in that way. I think we're going to see a lot more collaboration between people, more group projects, more co-working, and sort of seeing less ego in the things that we build together. So it's like, we care more about coming together and sharing something with the collective rather than just like getting all the credit for it or getting all the admiration for it. Like we were just talking about, Jupiter is going to be in Leo for most of this transit, so we are going to see creative expression being boosted. And I think there's going to be a lot of super creative group projects from just like everyday people. I feel like you don't need to be famous. You don't need a huge budget. Like if you make something good and that resonates with the people, this transit could really help your work be seen. I also wrote that we are breaking the illusion of like the solo, self-made, independent entrepreneur that like I did this all by myself, because that is kind of fake. Like everything takes a village, and there is a lot of instances where one individual gets all the glory, even though there's a huge team behind them. And even where one individual will like boast that they did all of this, but in reality, there's a lot of people behind the scenes helping them. So I feel like that illusion is kind of breaking, and we may be like celebrating entire teams. An example that just came to my mind is like when an artist goes on tour, there's like the band, there's the backup dancers, there's their production, there's the security, there's the lighting people, there's the costume people, there's the choreography people, there's the roadies, like there's probably all kinds of stuff that I don't even know about. And I feel like we could see more of the whole group being celebrated rather than just like putting that one person on a pedestal. And I think it removes a lot of pressure from us as everyday people when we can't do it all by ourselves. So it could become easier to ask for help and easier to collaborate and not expect that we can do it all alone. And if someone's trying to act like, oh, I did this all myself, I feel like it's just gonna come across as corny because we know it takes a village, and we're gonna start appreciating the village and all the people who do that work behind the scenes, like even if they're not necessarily in the spotlight. On that note, I do also feel like celebrity culture could be kind of dying down. I wrote ending in my notes, but maybe it's not that permanent, just kind of dying down during this transit. Like you're really not that special. And I don't mean that in a bad way, just like we're all humans. We're all humans at the end of the day. I feel like we're not gonna be vibing with stuff just because a celebrity is promoting it. We could actually become a little bit critical or more critical of celebrities and public figures, and like, what are you actually doing with your platform? You know, like I do think there's an opportunity for people to gain recognition and be in the spotlight just from being yourself and being creative. I just think we're gonna see less of the phenomenon of people being famous for being famous. You know, like influencers or TV stars or whatever, who it's like, what do you actually do? Like you're famous for being aesthetic. Like you're famous for having a vibe, but like, what do you actually do for us? That kind of celebrity, I don't think is going to last this transit. And especially celebrities who are actively doing harm with their platforms. Like we are not going to tolerate that shit anymore. Like the rose-colored glasses around public figures, like, oh, I stand this person, they can do no wrong. I feel like collectively that's really going to be dying down. Yes, I do think we're gonna see a lot more like bold and courageous acts and grand gestures from people that are actually done for the good of the collective, rather than just being like performative or attention seeking. It's like, if you're doing something just to be attention seeking, this transit will not give you the spotlight. If you're doing something for the collective, or if you're doing something because it's authentic, this transit will give you the spotlight. Like, people who actually care about people. Oh, that's making me emotional. I claim this. People who actually care about people are going to rise to the top. People who just care about fame are going to fall off, because we don't idolize people anymore. And then I made this prediction in the Jupiter in Leo video as well, and I don't know who this is about. Could be multiple people, but I do feel like there's gonna be the fall of some leader, especially like an arrogant leader. That could be a leader of a country, a CEO of some kind, a prominent business person, a royal person, I don't know. But someone could be falling from grace. Someone could be like losing everything. And some power structures could be shifting around that. It does feel like the power is going back to the people. And if certain individuals have been hoarding it, they will get their butt handed to them. Yeah. In terms of some, like bad things or just things to look out for, there is going to be a power struggle with technology, because Aquarius does rule technology and technological advancements, and it also rules like ubiquity, and it's kind of what do you call it, contradictory, because on one hand Aquarius can rule like the eccentric loner black sheep, but it can also rule over conformity and things becoming ubiquitous, because it represents like the whole collective. So I do think that we're going to see more technological advancements that are encouraging conformity, and advancements that are killing human creativity. Like, on the ground, we have more people becoming more creative, but the people in power are trying more to squash that at the same time. So there is going to be a power struggle there that is highlighted during this transit. Something I also feel that could happen, which is kind of like a toxic version of ending celebrity culture, is that there could be this culture of humbling people, so to speak. Like, I even said when we were talking about celebrity culture, I said, you're not that special. And it did come across as a bit harsh. And there could be more of that. Like, someone's just doing their best. Someone's, being confident in public. Someone's showing off their talent. Someone's loving themselves in front of other people. And then you get people going like, you're not that special. Actually, you're not that talented. Oh, you think you're hot shit. Like, just trying to like drag people back down. So that's going to be a power struggle too, because on one hand, we have more people who are having these big confident boosts and feeling more comfortable showing off. And then there's this other opposing energy that wants to like squash creativity and squash confidence and just make everything like bleak and conforming. So that power struggle is going to be happening too. This could be good or bad depending on how you look at it. There is going to be less gatekeeping in professional fields or in creative fields. So this could definitely be a good thing, because like we talked about, we could see everyday people rising to fame and gaining recognition. We could see the success of like small indie projects that aren't backed by Hollywood, that don't have like a huge budget, that people who don't have connections in high places could be gaining recognition. There's less of a barrier to entry. There's less gatekeeping in that sense. Like, if you're really talented, but you don't have the budget or you don't have the connections, this transit says like there is a chance for you to be seen. Kind of like what social media was supposed to be. But less gatekeeping can also be a bad thing, because it means that unqualified people could get through and could rise to the top. We could see more like downsides of less gatekeeping, and a little bit of gatekeeping is good. So that could be like a power struggle too. We could be having more conversations about the concept of gatekeeping, and some people saying like, oh, you're being elitist, and then other people being like, no, we need to protect this space and we need to protect this craft. And yeah, those kind of opposing energies could be battling it out during this transit. And then the last note that I have for the collective is that while the North Node is in Aquarius, it is going to be answering to Saturn, because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is going to be in the sign of Aries during this, I think during the whole transit. Actually, let me check. Okay, yeah, so North Node is in Aquarius from July 26, 2026 to March 26, 2028. And Saturn is in fact going to be in Aries for that whole time. So the North Node in Aquarius is answering to Saturn in Aries. I think that Saturn in Aries is helping us have boundaries during this transit, because while there is going to be this cosmic pull to focus on what is going on in the world, to focus on what advancements are happening and how it's going to affect us, and focus on how we can help the collective, there is a fatigue that comes with that, because we cannot be plugged into that all the time. Like we cannot be keeping up to date with what every dumbass CEO is doing, and what all of the technological advancements are, and what this is happening in this part of the world that's going to affect humanity. And we cannot keep up with all of that without becoming like mentally and emotionally exhausted. And we can't care about every single issue. Like we just don't have the capacity. And I want to be very clear, that's not an excuse to not care at all. Like, yes, you can't be invested in every cause, you can't help with every cause, but you can be invested in something. You can help with something. And there is something that your natural gifts will lend themselves to, something that feels aligned for you to contribute to. And so with this North Node in Aquarius, with Saturn in Aries, with Jupiter in Leo, for the next year, there's this overarching theme of like, know who the F you are, and know what you're good at, and know where you shine, and know how you can use those strengths and gifts for the collective good. This is not about shining just to have people looking at you, but it's about the message that you can amplify when you do have those eyes and ears on you, and the impact you can make in others' lives when you are using your unique gifts. And I think Saturn in Aries is going to help you like stand firmly in, I know who I am, I know what my strengths are, and this is how it feels aligned to help the collective. And I will let the other things be handled by someone else who has different gifts, and not feel this like, oh my gosh, I have to do everything and I have to emotionally invest in everything, and getting overwhelmed or feeling guilty. That is not helpful. Aquarius is saying like, bitch, that's not helpful. Aquarius, yes, it fights for the collective, but it also does have a level of emotional detachment, and it has boundaries because it's ruled by Saturn. So I think if you don't know who you are and how you're here to help the collective, you could get overwhelmed during this transit, because you'll just feel pulled in every direction and feel like, oh, I should do something about this, I should do something about that, and end up not doing anything because you're so overwhelmed, and then feel guilty that you're not doing anything, and it won't be good. So yeah, take this time to know yourself and like be confident in what the F you're good at. That's not selfish. We need you to be confident so that you use your gifts and you do something for us. Yeah, I hope that made sense. But anyway, let's get into the messages for all 12 signs. So if you are listening to this message, then you could be an Aquarius rising, you could be an Aquarius sun or moon, or you have some degrees of Aquarius in your first house. So this transit for you, there's going to be a big focus on you stepping into your future self, stepping into the version of you you truly want to be, and the version who feels the most authentic to you. You're going to be asked to embrace what makes you weird, what makes you unique, and let go of ways that you've shown up in the past just to be liked or just to fit in. This is going to be a season of personal transformation, releasing what is not you, releasing what you've picked up from others, and your decisions should be motivated by what makes me feel most myself, rather than what will people like, or even what will this specific person like. So for some of you, there may actually be connections that are ending during this transit. That's either going to be because you walk away from them, like you're realizing that certain connections don't really have space for you to show up authentically. And since authenticity is your main focus right now, like they gotta go. So some of you are making that choice to walk away yourself. But for others of you, the universe may be ending a connection for you. So if you have really been pouring a lot of your energy, a lot of your thoughts into another person and putting the relationship with yourself in the back seat, then I think during this transit, that other person could be exiting your life, or their influence on you is going to be dramatically decreasing. And that's going to create this sort of void. And now you have to fill that void by focusing on you rather than them. If you have been the type of person where like someone kind of becomes the center of your universe when you're in a relationship with them, or even just when you're interested in them, like if all of your thoughts get poured into them, that is going to change, because you will no longer put partners on a pedestal. You will no longer like idolize them, or people like idolize people of interest. You're able to be more detached. This is not for everybody, but some of you may actually not even really be interested in relationships that much during this transit. Like for example, if you're single, you may just be like, I'm good. Like you may just want to stay single and focus on yourself. Or you may be feeling more like you want to pursue a venture independently rather than being in a contract with another person or company. So I don't know, let's say you're a creative person and you were thinking of joining an agency, you were thinking of, like signing with a company or something like that. And now you're like, I feel like I want the freedom of doing this independently. I feel like I want to call the shots. You could be getting the courage to do that. It's also like you're building an identity and building a self-worth that, how do I say that? Like it's your sense of self is independent of who you are to someone else. So you're just saying I'm me, rather than identifying with, oh, I'm this person's spouse, or I'm this person's parent. Like, yes, you're a spouse or you're a parent or you're a friend to these people, but also you're your own person, and that's what you identify with the strongest. And I think that because you will have Jupiter in Leo in your 7th house, you are going to be blessed with relationships that do encourage you to be your true self. So if you're listening to this message, you may be a Capricorn rising, you may be a Capricorn sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 2nd house. So with the North Node transiting through Aquarius, there's going to be a focus for you on accumulating wealth. Life is going to be asking you to focus on making or saving money. Many of you could find a new source of income during this transit, especially through something that is like unconventional, something that is innovative, maybe something online. You could be finding success in an online business or an online side hustle. I made a note that you could be becoming debt-free during this transit. Some of you could be letting go of something that was hindering your finances. So for example, let's say you had a car that was always breaking down, it was always needing repairs, and you're selling that car. So it's like you're releasing a financial burden, or maybe you are canceling a bunch of memberships that you never use and you keep getting charged for. You also may stop caring about spending money on things just to appear a certain way to other people. So for example, maybe before you were interested in buying designer clothes or getting certain beauty procedures done to look good to other people, and you just like don't care about doing that anymore. You could also be ending contracts or ending partnerships that were holding you back from the abundance that you truly want. If there are any connections in your life that prevent you from manifesting the wealth you want, I do feel like they have to go during this transit. And also, like, if there are any connections that prevent you from being self-sufficient or like prevent you from developing that ability to be self-sufficient, those connections may be ending as well, because part of this transit for you, it's about learning that you can create your own abundance and you can take care of yourself. This doesn't mean you always have to do it on your own, but just learning that you don't need to depend on another party to provide for you. I think that many of you could be focused on building your self-worth during this time, because the second house also deals with self-worth, and with that will come a commitment to manifesting your goals in the physical reality. I think that many of you will let go of self-sabotaging behaviors where it's like your efforts could never really compound. You're working towards a goal, but you're starting and stopping, and so the efforts never actually add up, and that was a way of self-sabotaging yourself. Like for example, imagine you wanted to build an online presence, but then you would get self-conscious and keep deleting your posts, or you would get self-conscious and then you would go months without posting. And so you could never actually build momentum and make your goal tangible. That's just one example, right? This could be any kind of goal, but the point is that behavior is changing. That self-sabotaging behavior is changing. And as you're building your self-worth, I also think you're letting go of a self-worth that is tied to other people, and you're being able to truly validate yourself. Some of you could be doing like significant cord cutting during this time. It's like you're either releasing people from your life or just they don't have power over you anymore. Like people who had been living rent-free in your head, you could be releasing them, and they're no longer dictating your self-worth. If you have like an energetic attachment to someone still that you know you need to release, like you know it's holding you back, I think that this transit could help you find that courage to cut the cord. So if you are listening to this message, you could be a Sagittarius rising, you could be a Sagittarius sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your third house. So for you, this transit is going to have a big focus on communication, ideas, learning, writing. Also, you are going to feel called to share your story and feel more inclined to listen to the stories of others. It's like there's a conversation that life is asking you to join at this time. You may feel called to gain new information through engaging with your community and just like talking to the people around you. You could be really into reading, listening to podcasts, doing research during this transit. And as you do this, as you get this new information, you will likely be shedding some beliefs that you previously held. This transit is going to remind you to not take someone's words as the absolute truth just because they have some credentials, or just because they're confident, or just because you like them, or just because they have a good vibe, or they're claiming to have all the answers. You could be kind of turned off from people who claim to have some universal truth or claim to have all the answers. You could be disengaging from people who like claim to be gurus, and just taking what everybody says with a grain of salt. Like, that's just one viewpoint, and your viewpoint is valuable, but it's just one, and it's not necessarily the absolute. You may even find like you're getting a lot more wisdom and insights just from talking to the people around you, rather than listening to some like spiritual teacher who claims to know the secret of life. And that's another thing, like when it comes to you expressing yourself, I feel like there's an opportunity here to release that pressure from yourself of like whatever I say needs to be absolutely right and absolutely true and reflect the universal truth. Like, no, whatever you say just has to be your unique, subjective perspective, because that's valid and that's enough. Like, just express yourself. I don't know why, but an example that came to my mind to illustrate this energy is as if like you're doing street interviews. You're like talking to people in your city, people who come from all different walks of life and have all different perspectives, different levels of education, different ages, whatever. And through talking to them, you realize that some of the things you once believed to be true about life are really just one way of viewing things. And I just feel like you're really going to start to shed beliefs that you no longer resonate with. Obviously, that's just one example, the street interview thing, but I do think it's going to be happening from you just talking to people around you. But yeah, this transit's asking you to take in new information, to shed old beliefs, and also like share what you've learned with others. Some of you could even be called to write a book during this transit. If you have anything like a novel that you're working on, or an essay or a screenplay, or some work of writing in progress, I feel like life is going to keep pulling you back to that to like get it done. Some of you may feel called to start a social media account to share your thoughts, or you may feel called to like get online and market yourself, or start posting more like on an account you already have. I just feel like life is asking you to actively stay in certain conversations, like keep engaging and keep updating your perspectives as you get more information. And just remember that it's okay to change your mind. Okay, so if you're listening to this message, you could be a Scorpio rising, you could be a Scorpio sun or moon, or you could just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 4th house. So for you, this transit of the North Node through Aquarius is going to be pulling you towards home, family, your roots, and your inner world. One thing that was coming through intuitively when I was taking notes is that during this transit, you'll be reconnecting with some parts of you that have felt neglected. I see it as in like you've been out in the world trying to become somebody, but all your inner self wanted you to know, or maybe even like all your inner child wanted you to know, is that you already are somebody. You already are somebody worthy, and you never needed all this material success or achievements or all this validation from other people. And if you've been consciously or unconsciously pursuing a career path or pursuing a venture of any kind that was mainly just to receive validation, or if you felt like you could only be proud of yourself after you found success in a particular endeavor, you could be actually losing interest in that path during this transit, because you're starting to internally validate yourself more and more. And so you're caring less about what the world thinks of you and caring more what you think of you, and caring about your loved ones. Like, I wrote this as an example. Sometimes I'll see comments like saying something rude about me, and it's like, okay, well, I literally don't know this person. So like, I don't care. Now, if my husband thought this about me, then I care, and then we need to talk about it, and I need to make things right. But you are just a stranger. And I feel that energy here, like you're closing your social circle, or like tightening the boundaries of who and what gets to be important to you, who gets to like get to you and influence you. It's not like you're completely shutting out the outside world, but you're just not letting the outside world infiltrate your inner world and shake your inner peace. Now, some of you, not all of you, but some of you may be genuinely feeling like fuck the world during this transit and becoming more of a homebody, or more of a hermit, or more of a loner. And that is very valid. I do think it's very important to do what you need to do in order to keep your peace, and it's important to honor your need for solitude. But of course, we also need balance here. Like, we don't want to become isolated. So that's just a little heads up for some of you. Some of you may already be kind of feeling that energy, but overall, I think you are just going to see better boundaries between your inner world and the outside world, or like better boundaries between your public life and your home life, between your work life and your personal life. You could be getting better at disconnecting from work problems when you're not at work. Like rather than going home and continuing to let the issues fester when you're off the clock and like just trying to relax, you will actually be able to like shut that off and say, I'll worry about it when I'm back on the clock. Like that is a problem for clocked in me and just relax. And probably a big part of that is because you're gonna stop identifying so much with your job, or like identifying so much with your job self, work self, whatever. Some of you may also kind of start to feel like your job is just a job. It may be time to let go of a certain job or a certain career path. Others of you, you could be keeping your current career, but it's only going to occupy its dedicated space in your life. It's not going to spill over to other areas of your life. I also wrote this analogy in my notes. It's like, you know, that dynamic of a parent who is out working all the time and the child is at home and like they just want their parent to come home. And maybe the way the parent sees it is like, oh, I'm working so hard to make money and that's what will be best for my child. But the child is like, no, I just want you here. I just want your presence. I just want to spend time with you. I feel like that dynamic could be happening within you. So it's like your adult self is like, I have to go out and achieve all the things to make my inner child proud. And your inner child is like, but I just want you to be here with me. I just want to play with you. I just want to dream with you. I just want to create with you. I just want to feel warm and cozy with you. I don't need you. I'm already proud of you. I don't need you to achieve all of these things. You know? Like, yeah, I feel like your inner child could need you and could be really like pulling on you during this transit. Maybe that's just for some of you. And also, this is not for all of you. Some of you could feel called to settle down during this transit. Like you could be feeling called to get married, to start a family, things like that, or to buy a home, or secure a more long-term home base. I just thought of this now. Some of you could be applying for permanent residency somewhere. I don't know, just like securing, you're feeling called to secure your living situation in some way. Others of you, you could also feel a strong pull during this transit to connect with your roots, whether that's like talking to your parents or grandparents or learning more about your ancestors or visiting an ancestral home or something like that. So if you are listening to this message, you could be a Libra rising, you could be a Libra sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 5th house. So this transit of the North Node in Aquarius is really going to be calling you to focus on your passions, your creative expression, what is fun to you, what lights you up. If you are a creative or like public facing in some way, during this transit, you may kind of lose interest in branding yourself. You are, like worrying about your brand and worrying about how others perceive your brand is just gonna suck the fun right out of what you're doing. And if working towards your goals isn't fun, like what's the point? If you can't be yourself, what's the point? That is how you're going to be feeling. Your main focus will be to have fun and be yourself. Like that is your brand. You being yourself is your brand. And it's like you have no interest in curating a certain image or aesthetic or simply creating things because the masses will like it. You also probably are not really interested in being popular even. Like you don't care about being palatable to a large number of people. You may actually want to do something more experimental, more niche, more unique, maybe a little bit weird. Many of you could feel like you're coming back to your inner child during this transit, or there could just be like a larger focus on children, or possibly even having children during this transit. Of course, that's not for all of you, but the 5th house is associated with children, so I just have to mention that. But yeah, definitely inner child vibes for a lot of you. I feel like you're coming back to the part of you who is not afraid to be excited, who's not afraid to get excited about things and to show that they really care. You know, like people care so much about coming across like they don't care, which is kind of ironic because it's like, I care so much about being nonchalant, but the more nonchalant people are appearing, the more likely it is that they actually really do care what others are thinking deep down. But you, during this transit, I feel like you truly don't give a fuck. Like, you're not afraid to show that you care. You're gonna be loudly getting passionate about stuff, and you're no longer waiting for permission to do what you truly want to do. So instead of being like, well, if everybody thinks I should pursue this, then maybe I'll give it a try. Like, you're boldly saying by yourself, I want to do this. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to express myself in this way now. If you have any like friends or friend groups or communities that only accept you when you're fitting into a certain box, when you are conforming, when you're quote unquote being normal, and kind of like toning down your authentic energy, basically like they only accept you when you're being a bland version of yourself, then you may be walking away from those friendships or those communities during this transit. And also because the fifth house rules over like dating and sexuality and things like that, some of you could be exploring that area of life more. And you may find that you are more attracted to like eccentric people who march to the beat of their own drum, people who don't give a fuck about trends and fitting in and stuff like that. Or you may find that who you're attracted to during this transit is like kind of unusual for you. Like maybe you're attracted to a type that you don't usually go for and you're like wanting to experiment. And that doesn't necessarily have to be with dating and sex. It could be with friendships as well. But yeah, the like bland friendships have to go, basically. Okay, so if you're listening to this message, you could be a Virgo rising, you could be a Virgo sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your sixth house. So this transit for you of the North Node in the sign of Aquarius is going to feel very like, let me get my shit together, let me get healthy, let me get into my routine. This is a transit that could be very helpful for you in achieving your goals, especially long-term goals that do require you to be structured and be disciplined and have a clear plan. But rather than getting back to an old routine, I see a lot of you trying something completely new and different. Switching up your routine, because if you want to achieve something you've never achieved before, you need to do something you've never done before. If you want to see results like you've never seen before, you need habits that you've never had before. And I also see you creating a routine that is very unique to you. Like I don't really see you copy pasting someone else's plan or routine, but rather just finding something that uniquely works for you. Many of you could be becoming more focused on your health. A lot of you are Virgo placements, so you may already be, but the North Node is going to be transiting in your sixth house. So you could just be becoming even more so focused on your health. And especially you could see improvements in your health through kind of new or unconventional methods. Of course, please use discernment with that when trying something new for your health, and talk to your doctor if you need to. But one thing I do see changing in your inner world is like, you could be shedding, I don't know how to put it, but like a self-pity of sorts, or shedding a kind of poor me mindset. If this is not you, if you're like, Kino, I don't have that mindset, just ignore me, I'm not talking to you. But to put it kind of bluntly, it's like you're not coddling yourself anymore. Like you're not enabling the part of you that feels like the victim and makes excuses. Now, obviously this needs balance, because like it's also very important that you don't beat yourself up, that you rest. Definitely during this transit with the North, because North Node can make you kind of obsessive over things. So with the North Node in your sixth house, which is about productivity and being busy and being organized, like there could be a tendency to, like become obsessed with productivity. There could be a tendency to overcommit, to things, and we definitely want to avoid that. And like, it's okay to name your struggles, and it's okay to name certain disadvantages that you may have, but this transit shows you that those are things you can overcome. And they're not like excuses to give up, basically. Some of you are shedding a belief also that like the universe has something against you, or like the universe is blocking you, or that it's like singling you out and blocking you from what you want, because thinking like that really can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And a lot of you may be kind of moving away from woo-woo stuff altogether and just kind of focusing on good old hard work, which is still spiritual in itself, but it's more grounded. Like it's the ritual of showing up for yourself. And sticking to your routine could really become like a ritual too, because it's a way for you to show your higher self that you trust them and you believe in their vision and that you love yourself and you want to give yourself the future of your dream. So I just feel like you're like, this is not about being harsh with yourself and beating yourself up, but it is about, I guess, giving yourself tough love and being like, okay, I know what needs to get done in order to make my goals a reality, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm actually thinking about, my friend told me this story that she was going to a therapist and didn't really vibe with them because my friend was prioritizing self-improvement and wanted to get advice for like what she could take responsibility for and how she could do better. And she felt like the therapist was just continuing to say like, oh, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. And sort of like putting the responsibility on everybody else. And she was like, no, like, tell me it's my responsibility. Like, tell me what I need to fix. And so I feel like you could be kind of feeling like that. Like, you don't want more of this like chat bot, you're not broken, you're not crazy, and honestly, like, tell me what I need to do. Like, I'm ready to kick myself in the butt, okay? Like, that is what I feel from your energy. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so if you're listening to this message, you could be a Leo rising, you could be a Leo sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 7th house. So this transit of the North Node in Aquarius for you is going to be heavily relationship focused. More specifically, it's going to be focused on long-term committed partnerships. There may be a specific type of partnership that you are really focused on that you want to manifest. For example, maybe you're feeling really called to find a significant other. Maybe you're feeling really called to find a business partner. Maybe you want to find an agent. Maybe you want to find a client. Like, there's a specific type of person you are looking for out there. Maybe there's even a specific individual person that you are very focused on. But it's like you are wanting to pair up in some way. You may feel like you've done everything you can on your own. And this next stage of your journey, you need someone alongside you. And that could be in the material sense, like I've come as far as I can in this venture on my own, and now I need someone to do it with me. Or like in my spiritual journey, I've done the healing and the shadow work and the personal growth that I can do on my own. And I feel like this next chapter, I'm meant to be like healing alongside someone. It could be like that as well. You're feeling that urge to like, yeah, have a partnership. Yeah. In your case, Jupiter is going to be in your sign. It's going to be in Leo, or it is already. So there's this feeling of you being the main character, regardless of what placement you have in Leo, whether it's your rising, sun, moon, something else. There is a main character energy there, and you will probably be quite magnetic while Jupiter is in Leo. So I feel like the South Node in Leo, like transiting in your 1st house for some of you, it's not about focusing less on yourself. It's more like, oh, I've already mastered myself. I've already mastered being myself. I've already mastered my self-work. I'm comfortable being myself. I've already learned that lesson. And now I'm attracting the right people into my life. One thing I will say, because you are going to have the North Node in your 7th house, you might also, if you're a Leo rising, you might also have Pluto in your 7th house because Pluto's in Aquarius. So for my Leo risings, that could fall in your 7th house. So you could be entering into a connection that is quite intense and quite life-changing. And with both the North Node and Pluto here, like I have that in my birth chart. I have North Node and Pluto in my 7th house. And let's just say you could risk becoming obsessed with someone, or like obsessed with the idea of manifesting a partner. But actually, because Aquarius does have a level of detachment to it, so this transit could be an opportunity for you to heal any attachment issues that you may have had within relationships, especially because that Jupiter in Leo is going to be boosting your self-esteem during this time. I feel like this could be a chance to really like purge any not desirable attachment styles that you've had, and manifesting like a really, yes, intense, but a really strong and healthy partnership. I feel like you're going to be manifesting a very significant partnership or multiple partnerships that do genuinely benefit you and that can last for a long time. So if you're listening to this message, you could be a Cancer rising, you could be a Cancer sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 8th house. So while the North Node is transiting through the sign of Aquarius, you may be feeling called to like merge with other people in a way that feels kind of vulnerable or kind of risky or kind of scary. And a note that I made for you is that it intuitively feels like you're giving up one form of security to receive a greater form of security, or you're giving up one form of abundance to receive a greater form of abundance. And one example that came to my mind is, let's say you have a business and you're bringing a partner in and you will co-own the business and run it together. So you are giving up on this thing that you call my business, and now there is our business. So there may be some control that you're giving up here or some freedom. And you are in part like handing over this business that you built with your own resources and your time and your energy to now be co-owned by this other person. So there is like a vulnerability, or like it feels kind of scary, but with that other person's expertise and with their connections, and like you're just able to get more done together because it's two people instead of one. In the end, your business will be much more successful and you will become much wealthier than you could have done on your own. So that's one example. Another example is like moving in with someone. You may be giving up some solitude, some privacy, some peace and quiet, but now you can save a lot of money on rent, or maybe you can pay the same rent but live somewhere much nicer. So it's like you're giving up some things to receive something greater. That's kind of what I was feeling intuitively. For some of you, this could even be about like letting someone into your healing journey, or just letting someone into your intimate inner world, where it's like it goes from this is mine to carry to like this is ours to carry. And there's like a vulnerability in that, but it ends up greatly benefiting you. Whatever it is for you, it's like merging with someone else is going to benefit you. Because you also have Jupiter transiting in your 2nd house at this time. Well, a lot of you do. So I do feel like there is abundance and wealth coming in, but there may be some like ego aspect or some pride that you have to give up in order to receive this abundance. Especially the pride of saying like, this is mine alone, I did this myself. Or the pride of saying, I can do this all on my own, I don't need help. This merging with someone else may very well happen in an area of your life where you once took a lot of pride in being independent. Like for example, I do love collaborating on music projects, but there was a time where I just felt very prideful of like, and I think it's because, I'm a woman, and like female producers, and actually it doesn't even matter about music producers. I just think sometimes like women feel like they have to fight more to be taken seriously. And so I was like so prideful about, I produced this all by myself, you know what I mean? Which I mean, like, yeah, I should be proud of that, but I wouldn't want someone else to come on the song and like fix it up a little bit or add their own idea, because then I have to say like, oh, I did this with this man. just silly ego stuff, you know? That if there's something like that for you, this pride that's kind of holding you back could be dissolving, or life is asking you to move past it. Because if you do let someone else in, if you let someone help you, or if you like merge your stuff with someone else, you could just manifest a lot of blessings from that, and certain ventures or projects could go a lot farther than if you were by yourself. So there may be this element of, like, a harsh way to say it is like getting over yourself, or maybe getting over your fear of letting someone in. And in general, this transit could just be pushing you to do things that you've been afraid of, doing things that you've been avoiding. And that of course could be uncomfortable. But on the other side of that, you realize like your fears are not bigger than you. If you're listening to this message, you could be a Gemini rising, you could be a Gemini sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 9th house. So while the North Node is transiting through the sign of Aquarius, you are going to be pulled to discover your truth, what it is that you believe in. And Pluto is going to be in the sign of Aquarius as well. So this feels less like, you know, this little inconsequential, oh, I changed my mind, and more like entire belief systems shifting for you. So this could be a bit intense for some of you, but the main point is to purge belief systems that don't resonate with you, and belief systems that you've just accepted because that's what people around you believe. I wrote this in my notes, which is kind of like a silly, oversimplified example, but I watched a movie yesterday, and to me, it was so clearly an allegory for something. And I was like, wow, like that's so smart how they worked that in. Like this scene represented this, and this thing represented that. And it, you know, my interpretation made so much sense to me. And then I went on Reddit and everybody was saying something different. And I was like, what? And you know, there could be a version of me that goes, oh, actually, yeah, you guys are right. Oops. But I was like, you know what? No, I feel like my interpretation makes more sense and it's more interesting. Like that is a silly example, but this transit is about sticking to what you believe, even if it's not the popular opinion. Even if that makes you the oddball or the black sheep or something, even if some people think you're wrong, like, no, you're sticking to what you believe. You will likely also, because like the 9th house rules over higher education, you will likely feel really called to further your education during this transit, whether that is going to school or taking a course or getting a degree. You could even be getting like a private teacher or a private coach or a mentor or something. Of course, you could be teaching yourself, that counts too. For those of you who are teachers, you may feel more called to teach something that is unconventional, or like your approach to teaching is unconventional, because Aquarius is eccentric and it can be kind of rebellious. So some of you could be kind of going outside the curriculum and maybe even criticizing the education system at large. I mean, you can do that even if you're not a teacher. But yeah, there could also be an energy here of challenging authority in the fields of education, or challenging those people in power who get to influence the collective belief systems and saying like, actually, this is bullshit. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of that quote right now. I forget who said it, but there's a quote: "It is much easier to fool someone than to convince them that they have been fooled." And I don't know, I just heard that quote, and you could be that person who's trying to convince others that they've been fooled, but they're like pushing back against you because of some brainwashing or some indoctrination. And so you are kind of like the black sheep with your beliefs, and you have to really stand firmly. Woo. Okay, let me get back to the notes. Yeah, so speaking of teachers and mentors, you could be aligning with a teacher or a mentor of some kind who is like kind of eccentric, but it's like they're ahead of their time. They're a visionary, and the way they teach is kind of off the beaten path. Another thing I put in my notes is that if you're already someone who doesn't like small talk, you may start to have even more of an aversion to it during this transit. It's like you want to discuss big ideas. You want to talk about big things, possibly things that are complex or things that are abstract, or talk about theories rather than solidified facts. And you may be pondering more about life's, big questions, like existential questions. You may, because again, Aquarius is kind of out there, you may start to believe some stuff that is kind of out there to the average person. Like, just for one example, believing in aliens. One thing that I will say, the North Node can lead to kind of tunnel vision, and you might get tunnel vision on having big ideas or like having a big galaxy brain. And just remember, like, the small stuff is valuable too. The small talk is valuable too. The smaller ideas and, the mundane everyday chit chat is valuable too. In fact, you could try slipping your kind of out there ideas into small talk, into everyday conversations, and you may be surprised who resonates with it. Because there may be a lot of people who believe the same things as you, but they're just like scared to say it. And if you just casually bring it up, you may be surprised who has things to say about it and who agrees with you and who wants to take it deeper. Sometimes that small talk is like the gateway to the deeper things. Yeah. If you are listening to this message, you could be a Taurus rising, you could be a Taurus sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 10th house. So for you guys, I heard go out there and make it happen. And during this transit of the North Node through Aquarius, your focus is going to be on your long-term goals, your career, your public presence. You may feel called to make yourself more visible, or life is just like pushing you into the spotlight. Many of you could be going through a dramatic shift in your career because Pluto is also in the sign of Aquarius. And so for a lot of you, that is also going to fall into your 10th house. For some of you, you could be pursuing something entirely different than you previously were, or your values surrounding your career are shifting in a major way, especially because Uranus is in Gemini right now. A lot of you are going to have Uranus in your 2nd house. So you could be having sudden changes in your values in general. And this could lead to a realization that you have to make some serious changes in your career journey or like in what you are pursuing. And this may surprise the people around you. You could be making some decisions at this time that are kind of, surprising to people, kind of polarizing. Like there could be some people who are really supportive and some people who really don't get it. Because like I said, we have Pluto in Aquarius as well, which can bring this kind of intense and polarizing energy. And especially people who want you to stay the same, people who want to keep putting you in the same box could be quite shocked about how you're changing right now. But the people who truly care about you, they're going to be proud of you and they're going to get the vision. I feel like there's going to be this like dramatic change you're making, and some people are like, whoa, what, like, where did this come from? What the heck? And those are the people who haven't been paying attention. Those are the people who don't know you that well and probably whose opinions don't matter. The people who have been paying attention and the people who do care about you, they're going to kind of be like, yeah, I saw that coming. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a polarizing decision, if that makes sense. But I do think you're going to feel really supported by your family at this time, and that could be referring to your chosen family as well, because a lot of you are going to have Jupiter in your 4th house in the sign of Leo, which is bringing this like warm and loving and encouraging energy to your inner world. Your inner child could also be really like loud during this time and like coming through very strongly for you. And that almost feels like, that love you're getting from your inner circle and from your inner child, it almost feels like this anchor so that you can then go out in the world and do what you need to do and be unwavering in that. And I do think there are opportunities to increase your visibility during this transit if that's something you want, but it feels like you don't want to be visible just for the sake of being visible, but because of the difference you can make in other people's lives with more of a platform, or like with more of an audience. And your work, you will be successful when you keep in mind that your work was never meant to be for the entire collective, for the entire world. You were never meant to have the approval of the entire world, but there is a collective out there who is meant to receive your work, and who is meant to witness you, and who is meant to support you, and who is meant to be moved by you and impacted by you. And that is who you do it for. You do it for them, and you do it for your family or your chosen family, and you do it for your inner child. If you're listening to this message, you could be an Aries rising, you could be an Aries sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 11th house. So this transit of the North Node through the sign of Aquarius will be calling you to focus on friendships, networking, expanding your circle, and just engaging more actively in your community. Many of you are going to be finding your like-minded people during this transit, making some really good connections, like your dream business partners, your dream collaborators. You could even be finding your soul family. You're finding the people who inspire you, who ignite your desire to succeed, and finding the people that you like, who have the same vision for the future as you do, like the people you want to build your future with. If you have been wanting to become more well-known, if you've been wanting to grow a following, or even like rise to fame in some capacity, now is your time. This transit is indicating to you that now is your time. You are meant to be seen. You are meant to be known. You are meant to be celebrated. The 11th house also talks about like our hopes and dreams and our wishes. So you could become really fixated on making a certain dream come true during this time, because the North Node can also give us like this hunger and this tunnel vision, and it can make us a little bit obsessed. So having this in the 11th house, you could become kind of obsessed, not necessarily in a bad way, just like really fixated on a certain dream of yours, and just feel in your gut like now is the time to make it happen. Many of you are Aries risings, and that means that you have Saturn in your first house right now, or you could have Saturn in your first house right now, and Neptune as well. Neptune is also in Aries. So for my Aries placements in general, there's just this theme in your life of wanting to mature into your ideal dream self, and like gearing up to put in the hard work and consistency that you need to make your dreams happen. You have this beautiful realism right now where you're recognizing that you do need to put in serious work, but you also have this beautiful delusional energy right now where you can confidently believe in your larger than life dreams. And one thing that's important to note is that, like, yes, your community certainly does inspire you and support you, but also like you're not relying on your community to do all the work for you, or relying on your connections or your networking to lift all the heavy weight for you. Like, you recognize what is yours to do. I think you feel that intuitively. And that ability for you to take initiative is what is really going to pay off for you during this transit, and is really going to be, I'm hearing like it's going to be impressive to the right people. A note that I made is that it's really important during this transit that you focus on showing up for other people and supporting their goals, because then they will do the same for you. Not like that it's transactional, but just that it's reciprocated. You know, there's a lot of people say something to the effect of like, people want a village, but you have to be a villager. I don't know. I probably butchered that. But just remember, if you want to have a village around you, you also have to be a villager. And I do just find in general, like, a lot of us could do a better job at supporting our friends. I'm not saying specifically you, but just a lot of us could. support our friends a bit more in their endeavors, whether that's like liking and sharing their posts or showing up in person to their important events, promoting their work, talking about them when you meet someone who could be like an important connection to them, introducing them to people, engaging with your friends' work, engaging with their creation, supporting their businesses, like purchasing their stuff, if that applies, you know, just things like that. As you show up and do that for other people, they will do the same for you. Again, not because it's transactional, but just because like there's a mutual respect there, and there's a mutual support and a mutual desire to see each other win. And that is making me emotional. I feel like you have this beautiful, thriving community where it's like we're all winning together, and we're all in this together, and we're all supporting each other, and you could be like collaborating with these people. It's just like, I feel like it's gonna be so fun and so uplifting and like give you hope in humanity, honestly. Like we can band together and we can support each other. It's also very likely that your creativity is going to be boosted because a lot of you will have Jupiter in your 5th house in the sign of Leo. But during this specific transit, it feels like your creative work, it's not something that is purely self-indulgent, although there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, rather than this creative process that is just for you and indulging in your own energy, you're being asked to create with the community in mind. Use your creativity to make something that would benefit the people, like something they would like. And think about what you can contribute to the culture, whatever space you're in, rather than just what you can get from it. And if you show up in that way, if you show up for your community in any capacity you can, you will be greatly rewarded during this transit. And I just heard like you will be pushed to the top. If you are listening to this message, you could be a Pisces rising, you could be a Pisces sun or moon, or you just have some degrees of Aquarius in your 12th house. So for this transit of the North Node through Aquarius, I really feel like this transit is going to ask you to let go and just zoom way out. Intuitively, I feel called to say that there could be a pause or a break of some kind. That's not me saying that you're going to be on pause for the entirety of this transit, but just at some point during this transit, you could take a bit of an extended pause or break from something. And this very much feels like you stepping off the hamster wheel for a second, like just to zoom out and look at the bigger picture of your life. Just taking some time to breathe and reflect. Many of you could be retreating, and this could be literally like you're traveling somewhere, you're going on a retreat, or just like you're turning inward and you're connecting to your inner self and connecting to your spirituality. Because the 12th house does have themes of retreating, escaping, disappearing, and Aquarius energy, it's also like the energy of the loner. It has this kind of detached energy. And so this, I wrote this as a note. This energy is giving the feeling of we live on a tiny blue rock that is billions of years old and we are hurtling through an endless void and you want me to pay taxes. It feels like you're zooming out and really just feeling the absurdity of so much of life and how we're expected to live from day to day. And you may also find during this transit that showing up for your daily responsibilities is just like significantly more draining than normal. Things like keeping up with housework, things like getting back to people, responding to all your texts and emails and keeping your inboxes clean and maintaining all of your habits. Like it may just all feel quite tiring during this transit. And it's very important that you understand this is not a failing on your part, but rather an indication that things need to change. And I just feel like this transit is really asking you to take a pause so that you can start again with more intention and with more passion. During this transit, you may feel a pull to deepen your relationship with your higher self and with your spiritual team and just like with your spirituality in general to gain more spiritual knowledge. Something else that's coming through is that you may feel more called to record your dreams. or record like readings that you do or readings that you receive for you if you don't do that already. Now, you could also have Pluto in your 12th house because Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius. A lot of you are Pisces risings. So there could be some intense energy in your spiritual practices. Especially this could indicate profound revelations of things that have been hiding in your subconscious. And I do think there's an opportunity here to rewire your subconscious in a very profound way, in a way that completely changes you, that completely like shifts your outlook on life for the better. The 12th house also has a theme of release, so this could be a great time to let go of subconscious blockages and just let go of narratives that don't serve you. And just giving yourself this time to rest, to dream, to explore the non-physical realms and connect to something greater than you. This is really going to improve your overall well-being. Definitely improve your mental health. It could improve your physical health as well, because like a lot of stress and pressures and judgments and just harmful narratives are being released as you connect more and more to spirit. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you see like your physical health or physical energy levels improving as well. And when you do get back to your routines and your daily life, it's going to feel a lot more grounded, a lot more mindful. Like there's a lot more purpose in what you're doing. You're not just running around and keeping busy just to be productive. There's like, maybe you're even like connecting to your greater spiritual purpose. And that's giving more meaning to the mundane daily life because you know what you're working towards, if that makes sense. Yeah, I just feel like this time is necessary so that when you do come back to earth, so to speak, you can kind of rebuild your habits and rebuild your schedule in a way that feels just a lot more authentic and a lot more loving to yourself. And wow, just as I finish your message, the battery is saying it's about to die. So yeah, I feel like that's a confirmation that a lot of you are feeling drained. It could be craving rest. Or maybe it's just because you're the last group and I've been yapping for an hour and a half. But anyway, let's get into the pick a card reading. Okay, so there are 3 groups to choose from today. I'm going to show you each of these crystals up close one by one, and please pick whichever one you feel drawn to the most. Number 1 is Sodalite. Number 2 is Clear Quartz. And number 3 is Chrysocolla. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number ones. So if you guys chose the Sodalite, this is going to be your reading all about the North Node transiting in Aquarius and the South Node transiting in Leo and how that is going to be impacting you. So we're going to start by seeing a couple of the most significant themes for you, which we will do with this oracle deck. Then we're going to see what's going on for you internally and how that is manifesting externally. And we'll finish off with some advice for you. So let's get into it. What are the significant themes for my group number 1s during this transit? We have spirituality, metaphysics, philosophy. And we have self-love. What can you do to accept yourself, acknowledge yourself, appreciate yourself, validate yourself, cultivate happiness within yourself, and grow into the best version of yourself? How do you extend love to your being? These are beautiful. So you may feel really called to explore your relationship to spirituality more, to increase your spiritual knowledge. And I feel like as you do so, that is going to manifest you having a stronger relationship of self-love how do I say that? A stronger relationship with yourself, treating yourself with more love. And I wonder if part of that is recognizing yourself as an extension of the divine, recognizing the divinity within yourself, becoming more confident about why you're here and why your soul chose to be you, like why your soul chose this human avatar. And you may also be utilizing your relationship to spirituality in things like shadow work and just healing in general. I just saw 222 when I said that, which is making me think of the High Priestess. So your psychic abilities could be increasing during this time, but I also feel like your spiritual journey and your healing journey is deeply personal. So you may not really feel the need to broadcast your findings. You may share them with some very close people in your life, but this is really about your personal relationship to spirituality and your personal relationship to your soul. And it may be different from the conventional or popular belief systems that are out there, and that doesn't matter. That doesn't make it any less valuable or any less true. And now that I think about it, some of your spiritual knowledge could be increasing through you reading, researching, watching videos, listening to stuff, but also it could just be from your own ponderings or from your own meditations or from your own like scripting or just talking to your higher self, talking to your spiritual team. Like a lot of the answers could just be coming from within, because that's where they come from. So yeah, I feel like this transit is gonna sort of pull you to start or continue that journey of learning to be more comfortable in your skin and really loving yourself. Okay, let's pull some tarot cards. And let's see what's going on for you internally. We have the Page of Pentacles. We have the Moon. And we have the Seven of Pentacles. Now, I also just want to go in with the next deck and see how this is manifesting externally. We have the Wanderer, the Barbarian, and the Two of Swords. This is the Hermit card and the Strength card. Rabbits could be significant for you because we have rabbits on this card, but also the Moon makes me think of rabbits because there's some mythology where there's like a rabbit on the moon, and I can't remember the story right now. Please let me know if you know what I'm talking about, but that just popped into my head. Also, I feel like a spring season could be significant for you. There is definitely going to be a spring season during this transit because it's a 1.5 years long. There's a feeling of you going into beginner mode and accepting that there's still a lot that you don't know. There's a feeling also for some of you of starting from scratch. If this, okay, just to use myself as an example, as a tarot reader, maybe this is me being like, you know what, I do have a pretty good handle on tarot, but there's also a lot of stuff that I'm probably missing, even in the basics, like even in the most basic meanings and the most basic symbolism, and maybe even in some basic spiritual principles that informed the artwork. Like there's a lot that I still don't know. And so maybe I'm going to, interesting, because like South Node in Leo is kind of decreasing things like ego and pride. So I feel like there could be something that you've been familiar with for a long time and that you're quite good at, but you're kind of like swallowing pride in a way and saying like, no, I'm still a beginner. There's still a lot that I don't know. And I'm going to go back to square one and I'm going to relearn something from the basics. You're revisiting the elementary stages of something. This could even be in your healing journey. Like there may be a part of your ego that wants to believe like, oh, I've already healed that. I've already mastered that lesson. But then there's this other part of you that's kind of like whispering, maybe I've missed something. Maybe I can kind of go back to level 1 and just see what I missed. I feel, and maybe it's not even like a logic thing. It's just a gut feeling. Like I need to go back and re-examine something because there's really important knowledge there. And that's a more patient part of you too, because I'm hearing like, it could feel like a pain in the butt to go back and revisit things and relearn things. But I feel like the 7 of Pentacles is saying, I have time for this, actually. I'm just gonna slow down and go back. So maybe there's also this ego-based, and I'm not saying egoic as like a judgment, just we all have an ego that has a certain agenda and wants certain things. And there may be a part of you that you're kind of having to swallow that's like, no, we just have to keep moving forward quickly and we have to advance quickly, because what am I gonna look like having been in this field or having been on this journey for this many years and now I'm doing this basic stuff? Like, what is that gonna look like? And it's like, it doesn't matter, because I'm not advancing in this field or advancing on this journey to look a certain way. I'm advancing because I'm passionate about it. And maybe what I need to do to advance right now is take some steps back or go and like review some things. So there may be a timeline that your ego has that you have to kind of dismiss, because your ego is going to be telling you, no, like, let's just keep doing more, doing bigger. Let's keep rushing forward. Let's just go to the next level. Let's go to the next step. We already know this stuff. So there may be kind of those two energies battling it out inside of you, but I really do think it's your gut saying, no, like, let's just build a stronger foundation. I feel like your soul's preparing you for something quite big, like some big growth, but you have to build a really, really sturdy foundation first. Maybe you have also, we've been talking about working on self-love. Maybe you have some blind spots where you're like, oh no, like that, I don't get bothered by that anymore. I don't have wounds around that anymore. Like, no, I'm good. Let's just move on to the other stuff. And your soul is saying like, I feel like we can revisit this shadow work a little bit. We can revisit this healing a little bit. Let's just make this foundation really, really, really strong, because where you're going next, you're flying very high, and we don't underestimate the importance of your foundation, basically. That's going to take you very far. Interesting. I feel like this can apply to so many different things, but you're taking the extra time to do that and maybe kind of throwing away a timeline that your ego had. So how this is manifesting outwardly, we have the Hermit, we have the Strength card, and we have the Two of Swords. I feel like you're getting ready to do this. I guess, like, I want to say take a left turn. This is right, but I just saw 1111 also. Diverge from a certain path. Not because you're on the wrong path right now. It's like you're on a highway and now it's your time to exit the highway. You're not taking it all the way. There was a certain journey that you were meant to be on and needed to be on for a certain amount of time. Now it's time to, And I keep wanting to motion like it's a sharp turn. You're taking a sharp turn to the left or a sharp turn to the right, rather than gradually easing off the path. It could feel pretty intense. And some people may be thinking like, oh, what's going on? Like, what is group 1 doing? But it's intentional. You're like swerving onto a new path. Oh, like that's me, it's my time to get off. But you went exactly as far as you were supposed to go. Maybe you're coming to the realization, like you thought you were supposed to take something all the way to the end, but you were only ever supposed to do part of it. I'm imagining a bus route as well, where your gut is telling you, like, this is my stop. You're supposed to get off at this stop. You're not supposed to take it all the way to the end. So if there's something you've been wanting to quit, but you like feel bad about not seeing it through, maybe you were never supposed to. Some of you could be preparing to like verge onto this new path kind of behind the scenes and just like waiting for the right moment to do it. But you're definitely making this decision not influenced by other people with this Hermit card. And that's very interesting because I'm thinking about one of the previous messages of your reading, which was that a lot of the like spiritual knowledge and insights that you're gaining at this time actually just come from inside of you. It's not like you're consuming information, you're generating it from within. You're receiving it from within. You're generating it and you're receiving it because it's like your soul talking to your human self. But yeah, this decision is coming completely from you. May not make sense to other people because they don't know your unique journey. But that's the Hermit. The Hermit's following their inner compass. The Hermit is going their own unique way. And it may look erratic on the outside, but on the inside, it's like, I know what I'm doing. I have analyzed this decision. I have sat with how I really feel about this. Some people might think you're doing something like impulsive or out of nowhere, but it's very much not. It's exactly what you're meant to be doing. And I do feel like it takes a lot of courage. I just noticed too, we have Virgo energy here and then Leo energy. And that's very interesting because the South Node was in Virgo and now it's moving into Leo. I feel like that South Node in Leo is draining from you. Again, like your ego's timeline for something, your ego's concern with what people might think about your decisions. But Jupiter in Leo is boosting your courage and boosting your confidence. And your confidence was never meant to come from like being totally in control or being certain that everything's going to turn out perfectly. You just needed to honor what your gut was telling you. Again, I'm seeing it's like you're riding a bus and your soul's whispering to you like, this is your stop, get off. And you're like, what? No, are you sure? And your soul's like, yes, I'm sure. And it takes courage to like push that button to get off. And when you push that button to get off, like the whole bus is notified. You're like, I'm getting off here. Like, I don't know what this is an analogy for, but it's very interesting. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to make this decision. And also you're recognizing like, yeah, it doesn't have to be the practical thing to do. Doesn't have to make sense. You didn't come here to make sense. You didn't come here to be practical. You came here to remember what it's like to hear yourself and to be yourself. Let's get some advice for you. I used these cards not too long ago, and I'm feeling called to bring them back out. I want to get one Healing Spirits Oracle card and one Spirit Cat Oracle card. I think we're going to do that. Wow, your path may be bumpy, but this will alter soon. I wonder if some of you, I was just watching an astrology podcast yesterday, and they were talking about how sometimes when we'll make changes in our lives, we get flooded with that worry of like, oh my God, did I just make a huge mistake? And you might be feeling some of that. I feel like your path may be bumpy. It's not actually about the external journey being bumpy, but maybe your inner world. Looking at these waves here, it kind of feels like a bit of inner turbulence, and you know, the sun is partially hidden by the clouds. So it's funny. I want to say it's like cold feet, but after you made the decision. So rather than getting cold feet and like chickening out from the decision, it's like you make it and then you're like, oh shit, what did I do? Did I just make a big mistake? And that feeling might last for a little bit, but not for long. This will alter soon, it says. And this is your spirit cat who is bringing advice for you. And their keyword is generosity. Meet Sapphire, the generous spirit in us all. When it is dark outside, he will always come through for us with his dancing rainbow lights and gentle eyes. Allow generosity to flow in all directions. Offer your hand, your ear, your understanding, and your heart to a person in need. Graciously receive the help from another when you are challenged, stuck, or down on your luck. Be generous with yourself. Give yourself time, love, and sweet, nurturing care. We take turns being the helper and the one in need of help. Generosity connects us to something larger than ourselves. I'm seeing this like very specific scenario. I'm going to take you back on the bus, excuse me. But I just saw this like story play out in my mind's eye where the protagonist maybe has this like prophecy or this feeling that they're going to become very wealthy. And then they're on that bus and they feel that whisper from their soul, like, get off here. This is your stop, get off. And they're like, are you sure? I don't know about this. And their soul's like, no, get off now. So they're thinking, okay, my soul's telling me to get off here because this stop is where I'm going to receive my wealth. So they get off and they're in this town and don't know anybody, don't know what they're doing. And they're like, maybe I made a big mistake. Like, where's my wealth? And then after some time, the protagonist is like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm in this town now. So let me just meet the people here and let me see who maybe needs some help. Let's see if I can, fulfill some roles for the people here, or if I have something to offer to the people here. Let's see who maybe needs my help. Let's see what I can do for the people here. And as they focus on that spirit of generosity and service, and they're making more connections and they're integrating into this town, then that is where their wealth comes. So you guys are making a decision to take a new path, it feels like, and once the initial adrenaline wears off, you may be like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And you may feel like you're in kind of a barren situation, like I'm not receiving anything. Where are my blessings? And your soul is saying, well, you're in the right place. let's take a second to, what do you call it? Like get your bearings and orient yourself and look at who's around you in this new space and like see how you can connect with them and see what you can do for them and see what you can share with them, see what you have to offer. Tune into what they need. And it's through those connections and through your giving spirit that then what comes back to you is that abundance and those blessings that you were looking for. So keep that spirit with you. Yeah. And I just saw 2222, and I'm pretty sure I saw 222 as well earlier in your reading, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, those are all the messages I have for you, group 1. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. And if you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my Instagram, my memberships, where you can watch all of the extended readings that we do every month. You can also watch exclusive full-length pick a card readings there. And I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, your higher self, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 2s. So if you guys chose the clear quartz, this is going to be a reading all about the North Node transiting in Aquarius and the South Node transiting in Leo and how that's going to be impacting you. So we're going to start by seeing a couple of the most significant themes for you during this transit, which we'll do with this oracle deck here. Then we're going to see what is going on for you internally and how that is going to manifest externally. And finally, we'll get some advice for you. So let's get into it. What are the most significant themes for my group number 2s during this transit? We have define. Right away, this is making me think about like getting clarity. And I just saw 111. Describe the exact nature, attributes, or details of something to clarify meaning, to create meaning for yourself. And there's also the keyword processing. Getting clarity about the true meaning of something. Getting clarity about an emotion too. Some of you may have an emotion, especially like a longing is coming to my mind, that's been kind of hard to place or kind of hard to name or just difficult to know what to do about it. A lot of you are getting clarity about why something has been placed in your heart and like what you're supposed to do about it. A lot of you are getting clear about what actions to take. If you're in any kind of situation too, any kind of situation or connection even that's been kind of vague, there could be a move to give a clear definition or a clear label to something. And we have innovate, to invent, to make changes, to launch, to initiate something new. And here we have the keyword success. So it's like there's some processing that will happen internally, and that clarity that you gain from it will lead you to your success. So I feel like you're clearly naming what it is that you want, and you're creating a clear plan to get there. And the reason you're able to do that is because you can clearly define what this longing is, or like what this calling is and why it's there. And you can move forward with more certainty. That's really exciting. There may be many of you in this group who have known for a while, like the general path you want to take, like the general field that you would like to be in, or the nature of what you'd like to pursue, but it's been hard to kind of pinpoint the specific thing that you would like, or that you would be good at, or that would make you happy. And I feel like this is about you pinpointing that. Okay, like, yes, now that I've named it, I can start creating that plan, and I can start creating the steps and feel like, okay, I know what to do now. Let's see what is going on for you internally. Whoa, that was kind of cool. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, this is definitely giving you're getting to work. It's funny, the Define card being green, it was making me think of the heart chakra. And you know, we were talking about defining an emotion that's been inside of you, defining a longing, getting clear about what you want. And I just noticed how similar the color of the grass is to this card, and the horse is eating the grass. And it feels like you are nourishing yourself with what you love. You are feeding yourself what you love. So maybe you're like learning or studying something that you're really passionate about. Maybe you're just giving yourself permission to indulge in your feelings of love and passion and excitement, and letting those propel you forward. I think you're also going to realize during this transit how much more productive you are when you're doing something that you truly love and that you truly care about, and when you have a clear plan and a clear structure. If you found it hard in the past to motivate yourself, if you felt like you were procrastinating, it was probably like a lack of something actionable, and it was kind of unfair to judge your productivity based on that time of your life where you were still kind of lacking clarity and lacking a direction. I also just heard, like, I just need someone to tell me what to do. Maybe some of you have felt that way before, like, oh, I can't be productive, I can't get stuff done, I can't make a plan. I just need someone to tell me what to do, and then I'll do it. And your guides are like, no, you don't need someone to tell you what to do, because that's never gonna feel right. Like, it has to come from you. And so I think you're getting more comfortable with taking initiative and trusting in what you want and what feels right for you. We have aspiration. That is very funny. The way it flew over, it was like the card overshot itself and it almost fell off the table. And I was like, oh, maybe there's something here about overshooting, overreaching. And then we have aspiration. Many of you could be overachievers. Maybe in this transit, you're also learning not to bite off more than you can chew. And that may be another reason that you've failed in the past. I remember I said just a few moments ago, like, you need a plan that is actionable, that is realistic. And maybe in the past, you were like, okay, I'm gonna start this new plan, I'm gonna move towards this goal, but then the workload that you placed on yourself, the expectations that you placed on yourself were just way too big. And then you would get overwhelmed and then you would quit. So a big lesson for you in this transit is slow and steady wins the race. Sometimes the North Node can make us overreach, overcommit, overdo it, because the North Node has a very hungry energy to it, and it can become obsessive and it can do too much. So yes, the North Node in Aquarius is putting the focus on the right area of your life. It's going to lead you in the right direction, but you also have to like rein it in. I feel like that's a horse pun because it has like the reins. Anyway, yeah, yes, we're going in the right direction, but we must go slowly and steadily and break things down into smaller steps. Many of you could have actually been going in the right direction, just going too fast. And then when you felt exhausted and felt like you were falling short, you're like, maybe this is not the path for me. And it's like, no, you just needed a slower and more realistic approach. And that will keep it enjoyable as well. And we have the Seven of Swords. This feels like you've unfairly judged yourself, and also maybe you've been lied to about what is realistic. Immediately, this is making me think of the internet, because people are full of shit on the internet. And they're like, oh, like, look at how much work I'm doing. Look at how much I'm achieving. This was so easy for me. I did this in 5 minutes. Like, people are full of shit. Like, if you are an honest person, I feel like sometimes it's hard to conceive of the fact that people will absolutely go online and pull stuff out of their ass. They absolutely will. And it's like, it's not fair, because then you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, this person is doing amazing. This person is so impressive. Like, why can't I do that? And that's not me saying that people don't actually do impressive things. Like, of course they do. But there's also a lot of people who exaggerate, and there's also a lot of people who flat out lie and who edit stuff and take things out of context. And there just may be some things that you have seen that made you think that you should be performing way better, you should have achieved way more, you should be further along by now. But it's like, you're not seeing the full picture. That's what the Seven of Swords is making me think, because the Seven of Swords can be like misleading, it can be deceptive, or at best it's just like you're not seeing the full picture. And you're probably progressing a lot better than you think, and you've probably grown a lot more than you think. So let's see what is manifesting for you externally. I'm just thinking about, like, I'm not on TikTok or anything. I see people talk about TikToks on YouTube. And I guess in the running community, there's people who like fake their runs. So they'll be like, I went for a 10-mile run today. And they're just like filming 3-second clips of themselves, like mile 1, mile 2, mile 3. And they're like not even sweating. One moment, group 2. You got the World card, but I might need to cover her up. So we have the World, which represents completion. We love to see it. You're going to stay on track towards your goal, and you are going to see it through to completion. There's a significant goal that you're going to reach within the time frame of this transit. I am noticing that we have a snake on this card and we have a horse on this card, which makes me think of 2025 was the year of the snake. 2026 is the year of the horse. So for some of you, there could be a journey that you started in 2025 that you are seeing to completion in 2026. Oh my gosh. And after the year of the horse is the year of the sheep, which we have in the background. So maybe like you're achieving something in 2026, but then there's even more waiting for you on the horizon in 2027. That you don't see coming yet. Like whatever you're achieving is just the beginning. The World can be a sign of not only are you making this achievement, but you're being celebrated for it, you're being recognized for it. Depending on your situation, like if you're releasing something into the world, if you're launching something into the world, this could be a sign that it's gaining more widespread recognition. Perhaps even internationally, globally, online maybe. This could also be a sign of world travel. Maybe you are traveling as part of your reaching this goal. Maybe you're traveling to go to perform somewhere, or to show your work somewhere, or for to compete in something, I'm hearing. You could be traveling somewhere for like an interview or an audition, or maybe it's just a business trip, or just a trip to celebrate your success. What else do we have? We have tenacity. I love how victorious this card looks. This, I imagine, is the Chariot because it's number 7. And yeah, this, what they're wearing looks a lot like the Chariot person. Also, there's a dragon on this card. We have like dragon, snake, horse, sheep. That's 2024, 25, 26, 27. That's so funny. So some of you have been on this journey for quite some time. And the Chariot is a sign of you being victorious. And also, this again is making me think of travel and movement. Because the Chariot is a vehicle, it's going somewhere, it's moving forward. And then we have the World, which is also making me think of travel. So I don't know if this is like a celebratory trip or a trip that is directly involved with your goal, is happening as a result of your goal being reached. I don't know. Or maybe this is just for some of you, but as part of you achieving your goal, you could be improving your finances, and then that's allowing you to go on a trip, or that's allowing you to move somewhere nicer or somewhere more convenient. There is some blessing coming your way during this transit that will allow you to make the easier choice, that will allow you to make the more convenient choice. And that does feel like it's related to financial freedom. It kind of reminds me of when I was in my early 20s and I didn't really have money. I had to take a really fuck-ass route from Japan to Canada. Like I had to go to the States and go out of the way, and I had to change airlines, and I had to collect my baggage at the layover stops and check it again. And I would be like going to 3 different, like, what do you call it? I had to transfer twice. And I'd be like falling asleep at the gate because it would take so long to get to my destination. And now, thanks to you, thank you, I can afford to just fly direct, and it makes things so much easier, so much more convenient. So there's something like that that is happening for you. You have more financial freedom, so you can make your life a lot more like comfortable and convenient. And actually, it's funny that I gave an example about traveling. So maybe it literally is like your commute is getting easier, or you can take a more direct route somewhere, or maybe you can do a little business class moment, or you can stay in nicer hotels when you're traveling. Yeah, a lot of you are going on a really nice trip. Oh no. Ooh, she's still covered. What do we have here? We have the King of Wands. Yeah, that's definitely freedom. And Matrix, which is the Empress. There's a very strong creative energy here. I want to say Venus in a fire sign, because the Empress is related to Venus, the King of Wands is related to fire. Oh, that's a cute little, they're called axolotl, I think. He's so cute. But yeah, someone with Venus in a fire sign could be significant, whether that's like you or someone close to you. Very specific, but someone could be a Cancer sun with Venus in Leo. But anyway, Yeah, there's definitely financial freedom here. I'm sorry I sound like a broken record, but I mean, it's a nice message to hear over and over again, hopefully. But yeah, like the Empress, she is Venus, she is abundance, she is prosperity, and she is also like a comfortable and cushy and cozy energy. And she's also creativity, and the King of Wands feels like a very creative, free spirit. So if you are a creative person, this could very well be a message about you being able to make a living from your creations, from your creative projects. Or if your job is not in like in a field that is typically considered creative, it could be that you are just achieving financial freedom from your work that allows you to spend more time on your creativity and to spend more time on your hobbies. For those of you who desire to have the lifestyle where you can work remotely, so, you can work from anywhere in the world, I feel that kind of energy here as well. I do feel like whatever you're doing for your income, there's going to be more flexibility brought to it. So you do have time to travel, or you do have time and money, and you do have time to spend on your hobbies. And it's more like life on your terms. But you have some beautiful major arcana here. The World, the Chariot, the Empress. This is major success vibes. And what I like about this is that, sometimes if you become successful and level up, then it's like, well, now there's even more pressure, and now I really can't get off this treadmill. Like, I have to keep going. I have to work even harder to maintain what I've achieved. But this actually feels like you're reaching a level of success where now you can like relax a little bit and your life becomes easier and more flexible. You put the initial like big effort into something, and now it can maintain itself to some extent. Some of you could even have like some passive income. Yeah, kind of passive income situation. All right, so let's get some advice cards for you. But it all starts from this. It all starts from clearly defining something. And I don't know if I even talked about this card that much, but in order to achieve this success, you will need to try something that you have never done before. So, don't try to go back to the old formula. Don't try to go back to the old routine. You need something new, something unprecedented. Some of you could even be inventing something new or creating something new. I just heard creating a new method. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's just for like one person. Creating a new system. I don't know. Okay. We have You Are on the Right Path. And I do want to mention, as I held up this card, the camera timer said 2323. So that could be a significant number. And we're also going to get a spirit cat card for you. Oh, I like that this one is also green. This is very much giving like center yourself in your heart, follow your heart. Solitude. Meet Lily. She sits contently in the center of the sky. Everything is vast, still, and quietly beautiful. The wind might rustle a song out of the leaves, but she is far from human voices, and other meows and hisses. Lily contains the sweet, peaceful expanse of solitude. She will return to the world soon, but for now, let's not disturb her. Find your own space to meet yourself. Perhaps it is in the woods, or perhaps it is on a crowded dance floor with your eyes closed. When you are alone, it is easier to hear your own voice, to discern your longings, and rekindle faith in yourself. I don't know why, but I'm getting super emotional when I'm reading this. Almost like some people in this group almost feel like they're not deserving of solitude, if that makes sense, or of just being with themselves, being in their own company. I guess if you felt guilt around making time for yourself, like, no, I have to be out and engaging with people and doing things for them, some of you may feel like that. You are, of course, very, very, very entitled to having time to yourself and being alone and having blocks of time in your schedule where nobody needs anything from you and nobody will bother you. You need that time. I also like how it says perhaps it is in the woods or perhaps it is on a crowded dance floor with your eyes closed, sort of highlighting that you don't necessarily need to be completely all alone and completely in silence. If that's what you need, then yes, give yourself that time. But I also sometimes feel like peaceful and quote unquote alone even in crowded places, because it's less about being the only body in the room and it's more just about no one's bothering me. No one's talking to me. I can be alone with my thoughts. Kind of like when you're, second group in a row, I'm talking about riding a bus. Like when you're riding a bus with your headphones in and looking out the window, you feel like you're the only person. I'm sorry, group 2. I just had to come back because I finished your reading and I'm waiting for your file to import into my laptop. And I was listening to this YouTube video. It's a Josh Johnson video. And he's literally just started to tell a story about riding on a bus. And he said, there's this feeling of being in your own little bubble when you're traveling. Like what? I was literally just talking about that. That freaked me out. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. That can also be solitude. So I guess I just like that inclusion that solitude can take on different forms. And it doesn't even have to be totally quiet for you to hear your inner voice. But I wonder if this solitude is necessary for you to define something. And maybe this is even letting you know that nobody else can do it for you. On that note, if you've been waiting for someone to define their connection to you, I feel like them not defining it is your answer. And you may have to stop waiting for someone and just be like, okay, I'm defining it and I'm moving on. But yeah, for most of you, this is just, it's between you and yourself to define something in your heart. And once you name it, the path forward becomes a lot more clear. Okay, so those are all my messages for my group number 2s. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. And if you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have linked down below my Instagram, my memberships, where you can watch all of the extended readings that we do every month. And you can also watch members only full-length pick a card readings. And I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. And I'll also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, your higher self, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye! Hi, number 3s. So if you guys chose the Chrysocolla, this is going to be your reading all about the transit of the North Node through Aquarius, the South Node through Leo, and how it's going to be impacting you. So we're going to start by seeing what the most significant themes will be for you during this transit. We're going to use this oracle deck to do that. Then we're going to see what's going on for you internally and how that's manifesting externally, and finally get some advice for you. So let's get into it. What will be a couple of the most significant themes for my group number 3s during this transit? We have behavior, how you express your feelings through action or speech, or how you conduct yourself towards others, your actions and reactions. Whoa! I just dropped a bunch of cards on the floor. I won't take all of these, but I just want to see how many there are. There are 5, so the number 5 could be significant to you. Actually, 5 is the number of change, so maybe a theme for you is changing your behaviors. We have forgive. Interesting. Okay, this feels like forgiving yourself is the key to finally changing a behavior. I'm thinking of, there's some expression like you can't hate yourself into a version of you that you love, or something to that effect, you know, like you can't punish yourself into changing. You have to love yourself into change. I feel like there's something like that going on here, where when you were coming at your desire to change from a place of like, why am I like this? Why can't I be like that? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep falling into these patterns? And, you know, like blaming yourself or being harsh towards yourself, being unkind towards yourself, that was actually counterproductive. And it was only through accepting yourself and forgiving yourself and loving yourself and showing yourself kindness that you could finally change. I've definitely felt that to be true for me. Let's keep going. What is happening for you internally during this transit? We have the Page of Swords, obscurity, and the High Priestess. Okay, this definitely felt like an inward journey. That's a bird. This bird rowing into the dark cave, it felt a little bit like shadow work. And then the High Priestess also feels like turning inward. The Page of Swords feels like getting clarity. It also feels like liberation. I definitely feel like you are breaking a cycle for good and changing your ways, changing your habits, changing your behaviors for good. For some of you, this could be about like breaking free from an addiction or breaking free from an attachment that has been really intense, breaking free from some kind of spiraling thoughts or obsessive thoughts, or just finally being able to change a habit, finally being able to change how you show up. Maybe this is about finally being able to change your self-concept. It feels like some spiral, like some whirlpool that you could not get out of, and you're finally freeing yourself from it. It's something mental, it's something internal. But you could never find a solution if you were approaching shadow work from a place of, let's go within and find out what's wrong with me. Ah, that makes me emotional. Let's go within and figure out what the problem is with me. Who's the culprit? What part of me is the culprit? Come here so I can punish you. If you're approaching shadow work like that, you will never find the solution, because it's about finding what part of you, ooh, I'm getting really emotional. It's about finding what part of you needed to be seen and needed to be loved. Like, come here, it's okay, I see you. You needed my attention, and maybe you didn't go about that in the most straightforward way or the most productive way, but you did it in the best way you know how, and I see you now. I'm listening to you now. This is you speaking to your shadow. This is you speaking to that part of yourself. It's the self-forgiveness is what will set you free. Ending the cycle of self-blame and self-punishment is what will set you free. What may be a part of you that you've been hiding or that you've been ashamed of at the beginning of this transit, by the end of it, you could become very comfortable expressing it, being open about it, maybe even being proud of it for some of you. How is this manifesting externally? We have the Four of Swords. That's healing. That's healing. That's peace. I think your mental health is dramatically improving during this transit. Something in your mind that you never thought would be quiet is finally quiet. Because you've given a part of yourself what it needed. You've met its need. Some of you could be, I just noticed this person is cuddling with a cat. Some of you could be getting a pet if you don't already have one. Or maybe you do have one and you're getting another one. Or a pet could be a wonderful, supportive presence for you on this journey. Because there may not be a lot of people who understand what you're going through, or you just would prefer not to talk about it. And that's totally up to you. That's not me saying you can't talk about it. You most certainly can. But sometimes there's just things that people wouldn't understand, or you're just not ready to talk about it yet. And that's very okay. And an animal could be a presence for you that is very unconditionally loving and accepting and reminds you of your inherent lovableness, lovability. When I see the Four of Swords, I often also think of sleep improving, insomnia improving, or I don't know, do you cure insomnia? Let me know. But just improving, or dreams improving, like some maybe nightmares are ending, night terrors are ending, and you're having good dreams now. I think life is going to just feel a lot more peaceful in general. And there's also a feeling of you no longer feel like you have something to prove to the world. So you can relax. Your relationships could really be benefiting as well from these inner changes. We have the Wanderer. This is the Hermit card. I'm noticing all of these cards have like blues, blue color schemes, and black as well. Blue feels like truth. Blue feels like wisdom. It feels like clarity. The black feels like grounding and protection. It also kind of feels like nighttime colors. Maybe that's representing like your yin, your feminine energy, your inner world. Or again, being able to sleep peacefully. Some of you could be night owls. The Hermit definitely talks about an inner journey. And as it manifests externally, we see someone who marches to the beat of their own drum, who goes forward with confidence because they know themselves. And I definitely see that energy shaping up for you here. You're no longer ashamed. And I do think your relationships are benefiting because there's something about you're able to experience more intimacy in your relationships and feel comfortable in that. If there's a special someone in your life, you could be experiencing like deeper emotional, spiritual intimacy with them, or just experiencing more of that in your existing relationships. Feeling more seen and more understood because you now see yourself clearly, and slowly but surely you're able to like open up more to others, open up your heart. That's definitely a process that shouldn't be rushed, but I do think that's how you're blooming. I do wonder what is currently going on in your watery houses, like in your 4th, 8th, 12th houses. And we have the Tower with an eruption. I feel like I'm actually not worried about this Tower card because what I feel intuitively with it is like you're catching up. You're catching up to the timeline you had hoped for yourself because this pent up energy within you is finally coming out and can finally be expressed. Okay, let me explain this better. I feel like because there has been this cycle that you've been repeating, this blockage that you've been experiencing, it's prevented you from changing your behaviors and changing your actions in the way that you wanted to, and thus it was preventing you from moving forward on your desired path, getting where you want to go. And so you may feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. But as you have this breakthrough now, and as you have this healing now, it's like you're explosively propelling forward and actually catching up to where you wanted to be. So like maybe you imagined your timeline going like this, making linear progress, but it's been more like this. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. Then you have your moment of healing and a powerful breakthrough, and you just like shoot up and catch up to where you want it to be. Maybe you didn't need this drawing to understand, but I felt like drawing it. So don't be surprised if you go through exponential growth during this period and just make progress really, really fast. It's almost like the universe is saying, I didn't forget about your goals. I know where you're supposed to be. Let's get you where you're supposed to be. And I'm getting emotional again because I'm hearing, it's like your voice saying like, oh my gosh, I think I can actually still make it. I think I can actually still reach my goal. If I get up now and if I start trying now, I think I can still do it. Maybe there was actually a deadline. Okay, this is just one example, but let's say you're a writer and there's this like contest that you wanted to submit your writing to, but you've been going through a lot mentally and you haven't been able to bring yourself to write. And so you'd already kind of resigned, like, oh, okay, I guess this contest wasn't meant for me. But then you have this breakthrough and you're like, wait a minute, like I feel inspired to write. I think I can still make the submission deadline. You go on your computer and you're just like typing lightning fast, and you actually whip something up that is good and you submit it. It's like that kind of vibe. Or maybe you wanted to get married by a certain age, but you have not been feeling yourself and you haven't been feeling like socializing and you haven't met anyone. You've just been feeling really down and you're like, okay, I guess my dream of getting married by this age is not going to come true. But then you have this breakthrough, you meet someone new, things progress really quickly because it's just like, it's meant to be. I think you get the picture. Like, you're going to make it. Whether it's an external deadline or just within yourself, a time or an age by which you hoped something would happen, you're still gonna make it. So I feel like this actually represents all of that forward momentum and all of that enthusiasm and all of that passion and all of that manifesting energy. You never actually lost it. It was just pent up inside. And now it's gonna explode outward. Very exciting. And you know, the Tower, of course, in its more traditional meaning, it can talk about things falling apart, but honestly here, like, it's clear that what is falling apart is the old cycles, the old patterns that you don't want anymore. And you could really see the foundations of your old life breaking down, but I feel like that's cathartic. There's something you want to break down. I don't want to repeat that chapter. I don't want to go back to that. So this Tower feels like liberation, and it feels like something ending for good. It's not like the energy of moving out of a house. It's like the energy of a house getting knocked down. So you can't go back, and good because you don't want to. That's the vibe. I also just heard there's no plan B. And that's making me emotional too, because I feel like you had a plan A and you were like, oh, okay, I guess the plan A is not gonna happen because I just haven't been progressing fast enough. I haven't covered enough ground for my plan A. So, okay, I'll do this plan B instead. But there is no plan B. It was always plan A. The universe always kept your plan A. It was always that. You never had to let go of it. I want to give you a hug, group 3. Let's get some advice for you. we have Share the Gift 2020 on the camera timer as I'm holding up this card. I feel like this actually came out in a reading recently, and I was talking about, oh, some of you may have a gift that's like you do something with your hands. That could be the case for some of you. Like you make something with your hands, you play an instrument, you do energy work with your hands. But I feel like this is your hand reaching out for a connection. And also, I feel like the gift that you're sharing is you. Yes, you may have talents to share, and those are also your gifts, but I feel like this gift that this card is talking about is you. Because to know you is a gift. To have a relationship with you is a gift. There's also someone on the other side who's been trying to reach out to you. I don't have a message from them. They will tell you directly, but they've been trying to get your attention. And I'm just confirming that. Okay, so this is your Spirit Cat card. Curiosity. And I just saw 2222. Maybe you've been seeing signs and synchronicities and you don't know what they mean. And it's okay if you don't know. You can just kind of approach it with curiosity. Sometimes signs are not, it's not like they mean something specific. It's just like someone trying to get your attention or someone saying hi. Like maybe your higher self is just trying to get your attention, or a loved one on the other side is trying to get your attention. So anyway, curiosity. Meet Blaze. With eternal kitten eyes, he experiences each instance of sight, smell, and sensation as if for the very first time. Already, this is making me think of like a zest for life coming back. His mind is a delightful question mark. When he meets another kitty, visits an unfamiliar place, or tries something new, his mind is not addled by presumptions and assumptions. He is simply curious and open. Most of all, he is curious about himself. He asks, what am I feeling right now? What do I believe and why do I believe it? What is my heart trying to tell me? Let's cultivate this playful kitten's curiosity so we may continually learn, evolve, and discover. And this is very much giving new life vibes. Again, I feel like a lot of my group threes, there's an old life that you don't want to go back to. And this is confirming that new, bright, shiny, new energy is coming in for you. I also think there's advice here to like not dwell in the past or not go back to the old. And yes, there's going to be new things that the universe is bringing you, but I also think that there's advice for you to actively try new things and actively put yourself in new environments. And I'm hearing that can do wonders for your mental health, like new stimulation, new interests, new environments, new connections. It tells your subconscious that new is possible, that change is possible, that things don't have to be the same as they were before. Also, I wanted to say with these questions, like what am I feeling right now? What do I believe? And why do I believe it? What is my heart trying to tell me? These reflections can absolutely happen in solitude, and they can happen when you're intently focusing on these questions, but the answers can also find you out in the world when you're just living life. A lot of the time when I have inner problems that I'm pondering, I just kind of let them go. And it's not like in a bypassing way, just like, okay, the solution's gonna find me. Bye for now. And then I just kind of go and live my life, and the answer will find me through, it's like, as I live life and life is unfolding in front of me, I see signs. I see signs of the answer. Maybe it's in the situation that's playing out. Maybe it's in something a person said. I'm like, oh, that's the answer to my question. That's the solution to my problem. And then, yeah, maybe sometimes it will come from me, because I do pace my living room and talk to myself. So there are definitely times where I'm actively focused on the problem and like sifting through it, but that's not always the best way. And I feel like if I've read your energy accurately, a lot of my group threes, you've already spent a lot of time mulling it over in your head, and maybe it is time to put down certain problems and trust that the solution will find you, and just let yourself go out and enjoy life. Maybe you'll find the solution out there. And this Page of Swords energy is very curious. Maybe it's time to finally explore something new that you've been curious about. Learning something new, learning a skill, studying something. That could also be really good for mental health. Learning or studying something new, a new skill, yeah. Okay, I think those are all the messages for my group threes. I'm once again giving you a big energetic hug. If you will accept it, it is here for you. And thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. And if you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have linked down below my Instagram, my memberships, where you can watch all of the extended readings that we do every month. You can also watch members only full-length pick a card readings. And I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, your higher self, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!